Welcome to another edition of Mr. Parker's Neighborhood. I'm Mr. Parker. Today is another one of those shows where, when you get through with this show, you're gonna be like, I didn't know that was her. I've been walking around and saying hi and hugging and did not know this is. Yes. Today's guest is Miss Monica Butler. How are you, ma'am?
I am great. Hi, Cecil Parker.
Ooh, we look. Hey, this been a while coming, man. Yeah. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. Hold on. Right now,
Okay.
first and foremost, for all my viewers that come in, it's that time. Guess what my guest does. Here's your choices. Is she one, a teacher? Two, is she a record exec? Three, is she an actress? Four,
Okay.
an entrepreneur? Or five, three of the above? Y'all ain't guess right, so don't worry about it. Miss Butler, can you please let the people know what it is that you actually do?
I can answer that with one question. I am a child of the king.
See, that wasn't one of the choices either. So, like I said, they were wrong.
I'm a serial entrepreneur.
All right, there it is. So, now we got the prelims out the way, Miss Butler. Hey, sis, what's going on? How are
You know,
you?
I am one of the above when it comes to my love for Cecil Parker. I am your sister, one that loves you.
Oh, I thank you so kindly. Let's let the people know a little bit about you. Where are you from?
I'm born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. So that's where I'm from. St. Louis, Missouri, the state of Missouri, the show me state.
Now, as far as growing up, where what look as it St. Louis route, what schools did you look? What schools did you go to?
I actually grew up in the city of St. Louis. I went to couple school in the city. And then when the magnet school system started, I went to Sticks magnet school. And then my mother put me in, she wanted me to have uniforms. So then she put me in ROTC. So I ended up going to ROTC. Then ROTC transformed over to Cleveland ROTC. So I end up at Cleveland and, graduated from Cleveland ROTC and grew up there, So I guess you would say I was at Cleveland.
So now, while you were at Cleveland, what were you part of the any sports teams and any extra activities you had going on in Cleveland besides twirling
At,
bills and
at
stuff?
Cleveland, I was a part of the drill team. So, I was a part of the drill team. I was the lieutenant junior grade as far as our ranks were concerned. So on the drill team, I do everything to the extreme. So I I was lieutenant junior grade, and so of course I was head of the drill team there, and of course I was a singer. So I was in the choir at the school, and so I was head of the choir, head of the drill team. Always had to be, at the top of whatever I did, and so that's the extracurricular activities I was on in school.
So the way I hear it, and the way you say it is, would you say you were somewhat of an aggressive persuasionist?
Well, I'm an only child, so I
Hey,
always
that's what we do. We stick together like that.
I'm an only child, and I always wanted to have friends and sisters and brothers. So anybody who went to school with me, they became my sisters, my brothers, and we were very close knit at ROTC. And even to today, some of my brothers and sisters who went to ROTC, I'm way older now. One of the guys I can remember right now, is owner of a restaurant called Crab Kings. You
Okay.
know, Cortez Burnett, right in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Del Mar Loop. You know, that's my brother. You know,
Okay.
he's not my blood brother, but we all went to ROTC together. John Enlow, you know, he's doing got a food truck. You know, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? So we stuck together from kids, you know, in grade school, you know. So those type of things just kind of grow with you. So that happened back then. That just stick with you. You know, we were just a very close knit group of young people in high school.
And see, and that's the other draw. Like I said, we both are only children. So again, I always tell people, I say, yeah, I was born alone, but I ain't never been by myself.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Okay, so now we in ROTC and we head. When do we decide that being in the media is something that I'm gonna do and I like doing? When did you get that push?
Huh. You know, I didn't know till later. So um, see, so I would say that my mother was a strong push for me. My mother was also a singer and pushed me to college. And
Okay.
I went to college at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And when I went to college, my mother, being a singer with the O'Neill Twins and the Interfaith Choir, they decided to do this documentary film called Save Man Somebody back here in St. Louis. And I was about 14, 15 years old. And when they did that documentary film, they started bringing in all these cameras and jibs and lights. And maybe as a child, I was watching that
Mm-hmm.
and thought that that was exciting, you know. And I can remember when they recorded their first album, they brought in Malaco Records.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember them in the studio. And my mother drugged me along with her everywhere. You know, again, being the only child, she's not gonna leave me with nobody else. She no,
Right.
you going to the studio with us. So me being the only child there and everybody else, you know, grown there in the studio recording, she stuck me in the booth with the gentleman who was recording them. And so I'm watching all the board and everything. And so while he's pushing the buttons, I'm watching. And I remember his name was Milton Bingham with
Okay.
Savoy Records.
Okay.
And so I was in there with him, and I remember him showing me as he was doing those things, and didn't know then that the bug was being planted in me, that this was what I was going to be doing. I'm
Mm,
just a kid, just
right.
excited about the buttons, you know, and later on in life, you know, while I'm in college in mass communication studying, and my mother sending me to the Gospel Music Workshop of America convention, getting me with the Gospel Announcers Guild, putting me with Universal Records and Jive Records, and now I'm starting to meet industry execs
Right.
and
Right.
working. You know, I didn't know that Jive Records and Universal Records was with, you know, Usher and Mariah Carey, and didn't know that those seeds, you know, from a young child was you know molding me into something and putting me in these paths and actually planting me, you know, I guess, you know, setting my path
Right.
uh,
Right. Right.
for my future, you
Right.
know. So it just kind of put me in that mode of where I was going.
Okay.
And so then I started going on the road, you know, doing theatrical plays with Michael Matthews and Tyler Perry. And, you know, so now I'm doing theatrical plays and traveling the road. And, you know, so my path just was kind of led for me, you know, again, an only child, my mother
Right.
pushing
Right.
me in these modes, you know. So I don't know. See, so it was just like God,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, your gifts will make room for you.
That's it.
And
That's it.
it just ended up like that, you know. But to this day, um it's like when I think back on it, um it created where I am now. You know, I look back on it and say, I guess this is what I was supposed to do, you know. You know, so yeah.
Okay, so now while at Southern,
Yeah.
like I said, you were see, because at Southern, I know you were exposed to different people that came. Like I said before on the show, talking to other people who get caught up. When you at school and you meet these people and you're like, hey, how you doing? You just hanging out, and then years later you hear that so and so is a top artist, and this you're like, well, I know who that is, and I hang out with who that is. So what made you come back home from Southern? Because I know in Southern you were actually moving and shaking a little bit there. So what made you come back home?
You know, again, your steps are ordered by God. So even at Southern, I'm an only child. I am busy, because I get involved in everything. So I joined the Baptist Student Union,
Okay.
joined the Baptist Student Union Choir. So I didn't know that they had Baptist Student Union Choir retreats.
Okay.
And I've joined the Baptist Student Union Choir retreat and joined the Baptist Student Union Choir. And then I found out that they had these retreats. Well, the retreats join other universities.
Mm-hmm.
So Texas A&M and M
Yeah.
and other choirs that had Baptist Student Union choirs, and then we have these retreats. Well, in those retreats, they partner with other universities, and I met Yolanda Adams.
Okay.
She wasn't Yolanda Adams at the time. She was Yolanda Adams, but she wasn't the Yolanda Adams that we
Right,
know.
right, 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 right.
She's singing My Liberty and things of that sort. And, now it's like, wow, that's the Yolanda Adams. So, and so I, being a busy child in college, I said, I want to, of course, I'm a college student. Every college student need to make some money.
Right, right,
And they let me start planning an event at the Baptist Student Union on campus. And I said, well, I want to have like this gospel light club. I didn't want to call it a nightclub, a light club.
right. Club. Okay.
And so we had these gospel light clubs. We bringing in singers. I set it up, of course, like a nightclub,
Right, right,
and it became popular. Now we got singers coming in, local singers, and we're having a great time. Well, now we're doing this retreat, and we're doing the same thing at the retreat. So Yolanda Adams said, "Man, we used to have a great time at the gospel night light clubs, and I remember those things." And so, with that being said, when Yolanda, I finally had her come to St. Louis and do a concert, and she said it on the stage. And I
mm,
didn't know she even remembered that. So, just again, your gifts will make room for you.
yeah.
And she said it on the stage, and I was like, man, just such a small world. When you do things, I'm just doing it just to make some extra money as a
Right.
kid, in college. But things that you have done, and just meeting those people. And again, I'm in college,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, we have this what do you call oh, Cecil, uh the government student government association
Right, 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 right,
in the college.
right,
And
right.
so we have a student government
SGA.
association.
Mhm.
So I want to start like a Missouri thing, people from St. Louis, from the state of Missouri. And so I started this thing because a lot of us couldn't go home like
Mhm.
everybody from Louisiana.
Right.
We were down
Yeah.
in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So I found out that there's a lot of kids that's from Missouri area, East St. Louis, St. Louis. So now I run into the London and Son boys
Okay.
from that are in college down at
Okay.
Baton Rouge. And I'm
Okay.
like, wow, these are, the London and Son kids. And so now it's like we all family down there. And
Right.
then there's Jackie Joyner Kersey people like Barry Malloyd and all of them from East St. Louis.
Right.
They're there because Southern University has an awesome track team at
Yeah.
Southern.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, now that I'm older, we're all still friends.
Good.
So
Good.
it's just again, your gifts just will make room for you. So now to today, we're all still connected and coming back home. So that stint of going to Southern University again was another connection that I didn't even know God was doing even then
Yeah.
you know you remember your college days
Oh
and
yeah.
your
Oh yeah.
frats and
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
these things and some of those guys were a part of your frat.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
You know, when I think back on it, that was your Francie.
And like
And
I mean, just like you're saying though, that's the whole, and that's the whole thing about behind this show as well, is the fact of the people I bring on are people that I have a relationship with some way, somehow, to where we started off working together and this, that, and other, and then we build a bond. Because like you said, as an only child, it for us, it's like, hey, we're gonna either make friends or we're gonna make people that we knew.
that's right.
But when things are done right and you do stuff right, people gravitate to you and they allow you to come in to where you sitting, like you said, in the boardroom saying, how did I get here?
Exactly.
I wasn't even supposed to be here. I'm just a little so and so from, like, think St. Louis, St. Louis,
Yes. Yes.
Cleveland, and Riverview, to where now I'm sitting in the room
Absolutely.
and we sitting here with and again, we ain't got to that part yet, but you sitting in the room with multi-millionaires and all that stuff. We coming up to that. But I mean, it's just like you said, the relationships you build then, and when you treat people right, and when you know who you are and whose you are, it makes it easy to just walk in. And I say, and like you said, let God lead you the way He did, because you didn't know. You
I
didn't.
didn't
I
know.
said you didn't know. We sitting around laughing, joking, and you look up and you, hey, wait a minute, so and so the mayor. Wait a minute, I know her. So and so is the president of. Yeah, we hang out all the time, but again, you don't know.
You
And
don't know.
so I say, you as Southern, you, when you come back to St. Louis after you realize, first of all, I'm back in St. Louis, and I done left the normal, warm, comfortable climate to come back to the wintry brisk of what does Monica do then?
You know, it was a path to even come back to St. Louis,
Right,
because of course I had to travel first,
right.
and being on the roads for so long, and going through those plays, and traveling, and then living in other places, living in Louisiana, and then living in Texas, and living in the other states, and then coming back home. So with that being said, by the time I made it back, uh, that became depressing. Just to be transparent,
Right,
it was
right, right.
like, I I didn't want to be back.
Gotcha.
I was like, do I really want to come back? To me, it became a state of misery
Gotcha.
instead of a state of Missouri.
That's what it is.
you know,
That's what we call the Central Missouri State. It's the misery for a black person.
it's like, did God, why did you do this to me?
Mm,
Like why? And it just in my prayer, um, I just like I almost became a state of depression,
okay.
you know, and hurry up and get me out of here. Hurry up and get me out of here. And not just to be transparent with you as a brother, as a friend, but I will tell this story to anybody, and I need to write a book,
Yeah, yeah,
you
you do.
know.
Yeah, you do.
And with that being said, uh, I went into that depression, and end up actually going to a doctor.
Okay.
And by the time I got to a doctor, here I'm sitting here as an African American woman, and I do believe that I'm a very strong woman. And I'm sitting here with a Caucasian doctor,
Mm,
and this lady see me on a regular, and she knows how excited and how bubbly and how motivated I am, and I go in there motivating her. Girl, you always excited, and always this, and now I'm walking in, and she like, what's wrong, Miss
mm, mm,
Butler? And she says, oh no, that's not you. She says to me, Miss Butler, you need to just create your own lane.
wow.
And when she said it to me, something inside just hit.
Mm,
And I decided that's what I'm gonna do. I have to get out of this and just do it.
mm,
I have to decide that if even if I fail,
Yeah.
I'd rather fail and just try my best
Yeah.
to just do it because I'd rather um, fail at trying to do it than not do it and regret that I never tried.
That's it. That's that. Like that goes to that old saying: nothing beats a failure but a try. So you got
That's
to
it.
try first. But I mean, and that's the stuff I'm talking about. To where, like you said, people nowadays feel that, especially the young folks, they feel that that hey, I got to do it. This no, you're gonna fall. If you get a good yes one time, okay, run with it. But no is something that they ain't used to know. No is like no is like a crusher for some of these young people to where they don't understand that no is not, it's done. Like and say like pastor say, delay yeah, what do you say? Yeah, denial is just a delay.
Yep.
It's over.
Delayed is not denied. That's that. Exactly. So, and I will tell you that God always got a ram in the bush. And I go back to my mom, being an only child. And as you know, as an only child, your mother always have told us. My mother always told me, your mother always have told you, because I know who your mother is. So I know she has, always have told me that there's always a ram in the bush. It's always going to be somebody that gives you those nuggets or that would have given you something that's going to help you along the way. Because even as a young person, I would run into other young people and I would see that they could possibly be lost. I would look at other friends and say, their mother is on drugs. Their father is on drugs. How are they going to make it? Like, what's going to help them? They have no way out. Like my mother used to say, Monica, there's always going to be a ram in the bush. Like, God is not going to leave them without a helper.
Yeah.
Somebody, whether it be a school teacher, somebody on the street, somebody is going to be able to touch them and say something to them. Like every moment of their life, somebody is going to be able, just like that woman at that moment, that doctor that said that one thing to me that just jumped me. It's always going to be something or somebody that's going to help you along the way. And it's up to you whether you're going to take heed to it at that time.
There it is. I was about to say, hey, the opportunity, but if you ain't listening for it,
if you're not listening. So it's up to you to listen. And I remember here just recently, me and my fiance, we went to go eat at Four Seasons, and we were downtown, and we ate, and we just wasn't rushing, and we said we're gonna go over here and sit by the fire, and just sit and just relax, not rushing. So we go sit down, and again, a Caucasian man come over to sit next to us, and he just started talking. We just like, okay, we just listened to him. And he started talking, and all of a sudden, he started telling us that he runs this IT company. And then he started telling us how many times he failed at becoming a doctor.
Okay.
How many times he failed. He said, but he kept on trying. And then he said, it wasn't, he said, nobody says to him, you failed so many times. He said, what they say to him is, hello, doctor.
Hey, that's powerful right there. Yes, ma'am. That's powerful right there.
We don't know why he had that conversation with us.
Right.
We just listened, and it was another nugget.
Yes.
And he said, nobody is going to say to you how many times you failed or how many times you took the test. All they're going to say is, hello, doctor.
Man, I mean,
just keep trying. Just keep going.
That's it.
So I can't stop, Cecil.
All right. Look, and you know, hey, your fiance ain't gonna let you stop either, because once you got to keep moving. Hey, you got to move. He'll be like, baby, what's wrong with you? Come on, we
You
got
got
to
to
do
keep
something,
going.
because you can't do that. Come on.
And God is not going to let us stop. Because if he has ordained something, we got to know and believe that God gave it to us.
Yeah, yeah.
Cecil Parker's, Mr. Parker's neighborhood was planted in you years ago.
Mm.
That's why it had to be rebirthed.
Yeah, you saying something right there. You right.
I already know I am.
Look at that. You know you know the routine. So you know that's inside scoop. You got it. That's inside trading information.
So it had to be rebirthed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there are things that's been implanted in us years ago that you can't sit up here and let other things overtake you.
Yeah, yeah, you right. That's it.
So here we are. I can't sit up here and let other people's stuff overtake us. And I'm saying us because we did.
Yeah. There you go. Look, there you go telling our business again. But yeah, you right. You right.
We did.
We did. We showed look,
Just
we
that.
showed
I've
did.
been on a road. I've been dealing with other people's projects.
Yeah.
In all of Monica's dreams and Monica's projects and what I know God gave me
Yes,
took
man.
the back burner.
Yeah. That's it.
So God said, not Monica said,
Right.
what you gonna do?
But you go there.
Because if you don't do it, then I'm gonna give it to somebody else.
Mm. And that's true
Because
fact.
what I know and that I gave you, I'll give it to somebody else and it will come to pass.
One way or another.
Hmm.
Now, before we get to the next move, now, do you remember? Well, we never met. That was the first time we actually met face to face in that room.
Wow.
In that room, I was like, yeah, okay. Because you were like, hey. I'm like, hey, I'm Cecil Parker. You was like, wait a minute. I said, yeah. I said, we've never met. She said, but I know you. I've heard you. I said, yeah, I've heard about you too.
Wow.
And that's when we actually first met, was up in Berkeley.
Okay. In that little room.